Hi, my name is Miss LaFleur and I'm Dan's general education teacher. I'll be running the meeting. We also have our school psychologist, Mr. Barrett, here. Also joining us will be Mrs. Zeus. She's a special education teacher here at the school. And lastly, we have Mrs. Cornigan, who is a social worker closely involved with our special education program. And I'll let Miss Pretzel introduce herself.
Hi, thanks for coming. My name is Miss Pretzel, the principal here. I just wanted to say in no way is this meeting meant to be discriminatory or offensive toward Dan or you. We love having Dan. He's a good student who we want to help succeed. With that being said, there are areas where extra help is obviously needed, and we'd love for you to help us figure out how best to do that, which is why we don't have a draft of the IEP figured out yet. Sorry about that. So let's get started, and if at any point you have questions, just stop us and we'll work through this together.
Excellent. Thanks, Miss Pretzel. Now, Mr. the Dude, are you aware of your rights as the parent in this whole process?
Well, I'm not quite sure. Can you explain them to me? Or is there a way I can find out easily?
And you call yourself a parent. I'll try and remember to get those sent out to you, but unfortunately I don't have them handy right now, so we'll just have to go ahead.
If I could interrupt, Miss LaFleur, I believe that your rights basically say that you have complete control and final decisions in this whole process, but I'll have to check on that.
Great. Thanks, Miss Pretzel. Let's start by talking about Dan's strengths. Dan has a good sense of humor. He's well liked by his peers.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. Dan gets along well with the kids in the neighborhood, but I'm glad to hear that he has friends at school too and is developing well socially.
Yeah, it comes in handy for him. The other kids in class are often willing to help him when necessary, particularly when I've given him directions and Dan doesn't know quite what to do. He's able to pick up on the social cues from those around him. His ability to follow directions is subpar. He can only follow 1- and 2-step directions, and it has certainly affected his work at times. Also, as you know, Dan has a peer tutor for science and for social studies. When we have written assignments, I also read tests to him in those subjects and provide him with the assignment notebook. With all these things combined, he's able to succeed in science and in social studies. I don't think that we need to make any changes in those areas. Would you agree, Ms. Pretzel?
Yes, I think that the way Dan is set up in science and social studies is just fine.
Great. I'm also not worried about his math capabilities. He seems to be able to successfully participate in his appropriate grade level math curriculum. I think our biggest issue seems to be with reading and writing. Right now, Dan is unable to apply decoding strategies to one-syllable or multi-syllable words. This affects his oral reading rate, which is slow and very obviously hard for him. He can identify most letters and letter combinations correctly in isolation, but Dan cannot read classroom materials independently, but does understand grade-level material when he's able to listen to it, and can report facts and make assumptions from the listening. This affects Dan's ability to complete grade-level reading and writing activities on his own. Currently, Dan only reads 110 words per minute with 8 to 10 errors at his independent reading level of about 2nd grade. As far as his writing goes, his written work contains many spelling errors, lacks necessary punctuation, and his sentences are only 3 to 5 words in length.
Yeah, I agree. I've noticed that he struggles with reading and writing too, and have wondered how I can help.
Your being here to help us set goals that will help get Dan up to speed is more than enough.
I think it would be good to set goals for both reading and writing, as well as following directions. I think that setting an annual goal to be obtained by this time next year is probably best. Unless you'd like to set a shorter goal to be achieved sooner, Mr. the Dude.
Nah, an annual goal is fine with me.
Great. Let's start with reading. We want to improve Dan's ability to read class materials on his own, so given standard 4th grade materials for reading aloud, Dan will increase his fluency to 600 words per minute while maintaining 90% accuracy and the ability to infer meaning from the text by July 2018. Does that sound reasonable?
I think so.
Well, actually,
Great. For writing, Dan will improve his usual rubric score from 1 to a completely perfect rubric score of 5 by the end of the academic year. Dan will also correct his own spelling, grammar, and punctuation errors with 100% accuracy, of course, on all of his assignments.
I think that sounds like a great goal.
Finally, Dan's ability to follow directions. I think a good goal would be for Dan to follow multi-step directions with 100% accuracy every day.
Great, Miss LaFleur. These are well thought out goals for Dan, and you've done wonderfully preparing them. Any questions, Mr. the Dude? No? Great. You're free to go then, and we'll see you around this time next year.
Thanks.